Hey, everybody. I've got Aunt T here. She is a subscriber that reached out and wanted to help the Ninja Nation Report, and she makes these awesome backdrops. How are you doing, Aunt T?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for letting me be here today and help spread the awareness to people. I love that.
Absolutely. And if anybody's got anything to mention, up there at the top, Ninja Nation Report at gmail.com. Email. What I really want to get out of the emails is what's happening around you as society collapses and things get worse. The best news is news from the community, things we're seeing around us. That is, like, to me, that's very, very valuable, and it's going to help so many people if we can find out what is actually going on from a community member. So email ninjanationreport@gmail.com. Now, today, Aunt T has put together some stuff on Zoomers versus boomers, and how the Zoomers don't have it quite like the boomers did.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a sad story. Maybe I can make you laugh sometime. But the American dream is slipping away. And why don't you tell us walk us down what you got here.
Yeah, so I'm just breaking down, you hear inflation, when everyone talks about how much they make now versus then, inflation gets thrown around as in my opinion, kind of a blanket statement to really not let you realize what's going on underneath, because inflation is right, things are going up, but wages have not. So you got over here on the other side, you got the different years here, and it breaks down what was minimum wage at that time and how much did things cost for an entire year for college, for rent, for groceries, for gas. And so you've got all of these things here. That's one whole year of rent was $1,296 in 1972. And that's not even a month here now.
And in 1992, 5,364. So I didn't do the math on that. I went down, I was just looking through this before the meeting started, and you can take 1,296 and divide it by 160 and come up with the hours it took to pay for rent, the time you had to trade to pay for it. I got it down. It was 810 hours for the year. That's what you had to trade for a place to live. In 2022, 16,912 divided by 725 was 2,332 hours. It's almost tripled. And it's the same, and you can talk about inflation all you want to, but that's hours work. That's your most valuable asset is time. And if you're spending your time paying for rent, you're missing out on, other things that you need to be paying for.
Yeah. So let's keep breaking it apart in time. I mean, that's really what I've done up here. If you see all these, I've taken all the numbers that I had over here and put them up there to show you, breaking it down by time, your most valuable asset, like you said. If you look back in 1972, in order to have a place to roof, and this is cheap. These are all the cheap ends of rent, as cheap as I could go. And $750 in 2022 is unheard of. But lowballing these, you have 16 hours of work in 72. It took you 24 hours worth of work, and now it's 45 hours worth of work per week that someone needs to work in order to just have the roof over their head.
Man, see, when you quantify it like this, it really kind of brings it home, because I have thought for a long time, like my helper and people that make, I don't pay them, the gas company does, or the contractor does. I don't know how they make it. I don't know how somebody makes it on. I mean, I can't even imagine $7.25 an hour. I'm talking $12, $13, $14 an hour. It's just, you're in poverty. It's like being in functional poverty. They give you just enough rope to hang yourself. It's really, I'm not sure what to do about it. Keep going.
Yeah, so let's keep going. I mean, these figures, they're insane. We'll talk about the bottom two next, just because they're so interesting with the fact that they flip-flop what you'd think. Back in the 70s, there was a huge inflation on gas and huge inflation on groceries. So it actually you worked a lot harder for the food you ate and the gas to put in your tank back in the 70s, dropped in the 90s there for food, and then back up a little for 2022. And then same with the other side, but 92 is a little worse. And then looks like gas per hours worked is actually going down, but this is with 2 something a gallon. So take that in mind.
Right. So it is interesting. In 1972 on the food, you got the food next to it. It was 17 hours a week. In 2022 is 8 hours a week. And that could be the quality of food, but like you said, inflation was really high in early 70s.
Yeah. But
and
the
92
quality,
was really cheap.
yeah, that was the quality though. That's a big issue. That's one, we have all this processed food. They're putting less into it, shrinkflation. I mean, you're getting less for that, but these numbers include the averages people pay per month probably earlier this year than I would say right now. But I mean, and then most people tell you to go to college. I mean, my generation, as a sophomore, not knowing exactly what college I wanted to go to devastated me because everybody else I knew was being drilled in, where are you going? What are you studying? And I knew what I was going to study. I wanted to be an engineer. Didn't happen that way, but I'm glad. Look at the college rates. I mean, 1972, you only worked 5 hours a week in order to have 1 year of public college. Nowadays, 27 hours a week to work to go to college. So
yeah, it's impossible. It's like, well, I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's unachievable for most people. It's like a lot of guys that I bring out welding with me. It's such like, because I'm like at the top of the spectrum of welding. It's not, and anybody can do it, but it seems like it's unachievable for them to get that far. That's why I kind of think people are at. They're kind of like, why, if you don't have any incentive, because it's too far to reach. It is sad. The American dream, you're supposed to be able to, go to work, save, invest, and accumulate wealth. And now wealth will only be inherited after we get done with this crony capitalism, because that's the way capitalism usually ends up. Wealth will only be inherited. It will no longer be achievable just working.
Barely even rentable. The American dream, owning a home with a family. I mean, if you look at these figures I have here, this is for one person. These are not figures that include their children or other members that they have to take care of. I mean, I'm in young 30s, and a lot of my friends that have kids, they don't have a house. They can only rent a house. You can't get a house. And some of those houses cost more than my mortgage. But the reason for that is their income based off of their bills. And I mean, these guys, they can't save a penny to get a home. And that's just the sad truth. I only own a home because my husband and I made that decision to go to do that first.
Yeah, that's so cool too. Everybody can save though. I mean, it's worth mentioning that we can all buy a silver dime. That's one little milestone that you can do. You could not buy that latte, and you could buy a silver dime, which right now they're on sale, should be. But what are some solutions? Let's talk about a few solutions, because I feel like all we've said is, American dream's gone, poof, up in smoke. The Zoomers are doomed. And that might not be the case, because what happened to me when I was younger, we had a guy come to our school and they said, hey, we need 50,000 welders. There's a need. And I hated school. I immediately signed. I was like, oh, I am in. I'm a welder. That was plan A. Just went for it. And I was good at it. I'm blessed with it. It's always come natural to me. So a trade that's what I did. That's how I accumulated wealth and was able to buy rental properties and build other businesses. On your side, what would you think? What's an action we can take?
Actions we can take, if you are at a company and in your area, there are other places that are doing better, you need to do that for you. People need to start saving. People need to work on being thrifty. If you want to flip things, I mean, a lot of people have, cleanup weeks and things like that. You can find things around. The saving is difficult, but you gotta take every little penny you can and put it aside. Every little piece will add up. Just because you think you only have $5 left and that doesn't mean anything, it does. Put it away, put it somewhere safe. and just keep trying to hustle. I mean, hustle culture is real. And I would know. I'm a 2018 Hustle Award winner. And I do have a glass award to prove it. Anyway, so I know it's hard, but you got to get up, you got to go, you know, and I hate to tell you that you need that second job, but if you have the time, get it. Get your stuff in order, get your debt paid off, get yourself some savings, and work your way towards having equity, having something that will build you value besides the renting. Because the renting, I'm telling you, it's more expensive to rent nowadays than it is to own. So work your way towards that ownership, and you need to get out of debt to get to that.
Absolutely. That's solid advice for anybody, not to be confused with financial advice. Just dang good advice.
I'm just not a financial advisor.
So guys, hit the like button for Aunt T and have an awesome, awesome day. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, have an amazing day, everyone.